I'm PJ Bishop. Welcome to my channel and the ongoing series with the Oakland A's. June was a okay month. Wasn't a winning record month, but it was okay. We didn't fall off completely. It's been tough. We get within about 4 games of 500, and then we lose a few. And then we get within 4 games again, and then we lose a few. So it's been an up and down month in that terms. I'm still trying to break that threshold of at least get within 5 games of 500. And then maybe start, hopefully by the end of the year, we can either get to 500 or even have a winning record. As I keep trying to put pieces together and find the right combination of players to get us to that threshold of not being the worst team. In fact, what was our monthly stats? 12 and 13, so we're 1 game below 500. So it was really truly wasn't up and down. But it was nice because we did sweep Texas, I believe. Is there not a series of Texas? I thought I had a series of Texas. I did. There it is. So it's nice to sweep him here. As you can see here, we'll have 2 losses in a row, win, loss, a couple wins, then 3 losses, a win, 2 losses. Then 4 wins in a row, loss, win, win. So it's tough. But we did sweep Texas, which is nice. As you can see here, a 3-game sweep of Texas. The reason why it's nice is because they are division leaders. So it shows that we can beat a good team, 3 straight games. Or even win a series 2 out of 3. At worst case scenario, split one that's 4, 2 for 2. And that will constantly keep us churning along towards that goal of being 500 and above 500. You just got to win 1 series at a time. That's all you can do. Here we are, 36 and 43, 7.5 games out of the division. I wouldn't say it's totally impossible to win the division. It's still, although it's getting close to halfway point of the year. Now you really got to make a push. I think if you want to win the division, you got to be at least within 5 games when it comes down to the last few months. You can't be this far. I think this is too far out. If at the end of July we're not within 5 games, then it's probably unattainable. This year's wildcard teams are doing really well. I think currently all 3 of them in the 60 win percentage, and all out of the AL East. That's pretty cool. Orioles, Yankees, and Red Sox all out of the East. And then here we are, not even the worst team anymore. And we still are one of the worst, but we're the best of the worst. Anybody within 5 games of a wild card are pretty good. They got a losing record. But we're 6 games out of a wild card, which is also not impossible. But it's interesting to see that we are actually almost just as close to a wild card as we are to the division. So our division our division leader isn't the greatest this year. So our probably best chances of even making a sneaky little playoff run would be to try to capture a division crown. Here we are, offensively, batting average is pretty high, but that's probably thanks to Jacob Wilson, who's currently batting .322. He's been an absolute beast. Home runs are falling off a little bit, stop hitting so many. Runs against starters ERA is starting to improve. Down to 7th in the league. Bullpen is still last ERA, so the bullpen is having a tough time of what was a strength last year is a major weakness this year. And defensively, we're not as solid as we were last year, so a little drop off defensively, but still overall improving, which is a nice sign. Let's take a look at some of the transactions. So June 19th, it was pretty quiet early on, and then it got heavy at the end of the year, at the beginning / end of the month, when I was trying to make some moves. Center fielder Denzel Clark was optioned to AAA Las Vegas, as they ended up calling up center fielder Clark Elliott was activated from the IL. And then June 29th, the the Arizona Complex Oakland A's clinched their 3rd straight division title. So at least it's nice to say that I've got what that tells me is for 3 straight years I captured the Complex division title, I got a lot of good young talent, and it just keeps on churning. And eventually those guys are going to make it up to high A, double A, triple A, and obviously the majors. as they keep progressing. So we got young talent down there that's going to eventually make its way up. June 30th, right-handed pitcher Michael Kelly has been released. It wasn't just a straight-up release. He got hurt. I think he was going to be out for like 4 or 5 months. I can't remember exactly. But he wasn't doing well. He's in his 30s. He's declining ratings-wise. His contract was expiring. Well, he was under arbitration, but considering how he was playing, I wasn't willing to keep paying him more to suck. So released him, straight up released him. Right-handed pitcher Joe Boyle was recalled from AAA Las Vegas. So I was giving him another chance. I was going to let him start. And then the very next day, July 1st, Oakland and Arizona have come to a trade agreement. Oakland sends 26-year-old right-handed pitcher Joe Boyle in exchange for 25-year-old left fielder Christian Robinson. He came back in that very first game. He absolutely sucked, and I was like, yeah, you're done. He's just not his walking is his problem. He was walking so many dudes. Like his walk rate was in the double digits and high double digits. That he was just giving up too many runs. We ended up getting Christian Robinson, who's going to fill in at center field. We got him in because of his power. This dude's got immense power, and he's a power speed combination. That if he can just, the problem is he's always going to be a strikeout issue. But he's already got plus power. He can still get a little better as far as contact, so his average could improve. He doesn't have a very high average this year, but because of his power, it more than makes up for it. And he can get a decent amount of walks, which helps him utilize his speed. And he's a good enough defender at center field that he can come in just for this year, hopefully. Maybe he can improve defensively. He's only 25, so I figure he could still improve defensively at center field. And if he can show, even if he continues playing at this similar rate, which is batting 200, but still hitting roughly 25 home runs, and of course with me being a little more aggressive with the stolen bases, he could probably get at least 25 stolen bases, probably even 50, 25, 30. So he can still have a really good year for us, just even with a low average. And his defense is good enough at multiple positions in the outfield where I can always slide him around and move him around. But yeah, this is who we're going to go with for center field. We're having a hard time finding a center fielder who can play good defense and provide some sort of offense. We've been rotating just a ton of guys this year without really much success. We're hoping Christian can come in and make it happen. Last year for Arizona, better numbers, so I'm hopefully he can kind of revert back to this 228. Because you definitely want him at least hitting in the 200s. Hitting below 200 is pretty terrible. But he's slugging much more, so he's given up his average for his slugging numbers. But his on-base needs to improve as well. He has skill that I do like. Hopefully he can improve some of it. Maybe a little scouting inaccuracy. This can go up a little. Hopefully not the expensive power. But I am excited to get him into the system. And then center fielder Clark Elliott was placed on a 10-day IL with a strained oblique. He's expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks, so that's his second stint on the IL this year. So he's a little injury prone there. It's kind of been a weird injury year where guys are like Max Muncy was back on a rehab assignment and ended up getting hurt on his rehab assignment. I think he's out for another 2 or 3 weeks. So it's been one of those years where just guys keep getting hurt. And then the final trade is Oakland and Cincinnati have come to a trade agreement. Oakland sends 27-year-old center fielder Esteury Ruiz and 23 minor league third baseman Javier Sanoja in exchange for 26-year-old first baseman Matt McLain and 23-year-old minor league right-handed pitcher Bubba Chandler. So here I am collecting ex-Pittsburgh Pirates pitchers. I got Braxton Ashcraft, now I got Bubba Chandler. But Matt McLain was the real price here. I know I got rid of Esteury Ruiz. He's out of option years. And at this point, he's had 3 years to prove himself for me, and he can't. So at 27 years old, I believe your development is pretty much hitting its peak. At that point, you're either going to be consistently producing or you're going to be a career minor leaguer. And he's, in my opinion, he's going to end up being a career minor leaguer. So why not trade him and get Matt McClain, who now slides in at second base. Since we're missing Max Muncy for another 2 to 3 weeks, we need second baseman. Now Matt can play first. He can play second, in a pretty terrible short. His avoid K. Now the OPS isn't very high this year, but I like him. He's got power and speed, and he's a good defender. And he was an all-star. Last year he was an all-star for Cincinnati. Hit 21 home runs, stole 15 bases. If he played for me, that would have definitely been more than 15 stolen bases. So it makes me think, he was an all-star last year. He can still be an all-star this year. I know you're getting up there in money because you're on arbitration deals, but he's a good player. And he looks like he still has a little room to improve. I don't know if he'll reach that full potential because he's 26, but I could take a chance on him. Cincinnati didn't want him. I'm not sure if Cincinnati has another second baseman or first baseman that's better. But he started most of the games, so he's a pure starter. I'll take him in exchange for a center fielder in Javier Sanoja, who's more of a minor league unknown right now. He could develop and play well, but again, I'm trying to avoid. Javier was very similar to guys I already had. High contact, high avoid Ks, but no power. I'm trying to get guys with power, with decent contact, and still can steal bases and play good defense. I need those home runs. I want the home runs. That's how you quickly equalize, because anytime you're down 2-1, but you got a big power guy coming on deck with 3 guys already on base or 2 guys on base, you're hopeful. Every time you put one in, you're like, man, I'm just one swing of a bat away from being up 1 or tying the game. So that was the transactions for the month. Let's take a look at our pitching. Ryan Johnson is still roughly, ERA is 4.61. He's hanging in. Decent numbers. Hasn't improved much this year is the only weird thing. His potential could go up by 15 more points, but I don't think he's improved at all. Like, nothing has moved. He's been kind of, the potential keeps moving. The goalpost keeps moving, but he's not getting any closer as far as skill level wise this year. He's kind of been stuck at this exact same rating. So I hope this isn't his final rating. As that 65 and those numbers look so good. Like, the stuff being up a little bit more would be nice. And then having his pitches kind of come together would be nice. I guess that's the only thing that's really holding him back is getting his pitches up. If he gets that stuff up, I think his overall just goes up. Maybe one more month. But he's got solid, decent numbers. ERA's roughly average, 4.61. He's already got 80 innings, so he's on pace for roughly, 160 innings. The whip's a little high. The home run rate, he is giving up a lot of home runs. You like to see that dip below 1. Walk rate is livable so far. Strikeout rate is okay. Like, these are okay-ish numbers. Keep in mind, he's a pure rookie. And there's some games where he does really well and other games where he struggles. As you can see, he's got 4 earned runs, and then a 1 earned run game, then a 4 earned run game. So he's a little up and down when it comes to performance, which is understandable for a rookie whose highest level of play was high A prior to this year. So you really got to... So I'm sure there's going to be some growing pains. Blake Walston, at least this is the numbers for me. He's been an absolute stud for me. He's got back-to-back games of no earned runs given up. He's got actually 3 of his last 5 starts are no earned runs given up. On the year is 4.34, but for me it's like 1.61. So has done really well for me. So kind of a sneaky little draft win there. I'm hoping Christian Robinson can be very similar, where he just plays better for me. And talk about taking advantage of Arizona. It's 2 trades with Arizona. Before you know it, we're going to be called the Oakland Diamondbacks. Just keep taking all the players. Maybe I can get Corbin Carroll. That'd be nice. A little Corbin Carroll would be nice. That's what I want. Corbin Carroll. JP Sears, solid again. Solid numbers, 3.92 ERA. He's got a few starts in here, was sprinkled in with 3 or 4 earned runs. But the ERA is decent. It's roughly around where it was last year. Could get a little worse. But he's consistent. He's consistently average, which is nice to know that you can have a solid day with him on the mound. And then Stevie Emanuel's is, of course, he's doing much better than his first go around as a starter. What do we got him down here as? Actually, no, he did pretty well his first time out. He's doing a little worse this year than he did his first time out. But he's seeing more action now, which means he's going to see more games and have chances to have stuff like this. 5 earned runs given up, so he has given up a lot of runs. He seems to give up at least 1 or 2 in every game that he plays in. And then Ken Waldachek, surprisingly, knocking on the door of being a sub-4 ERA pitcher. He's just playing solid games. As you can see here, aside from this Dodgers game where he gave up 6 earned runs, 3 of his last 5, no earned runs or just 2. Like he's playing a couple quality starts here. So you're seeing him kind of hover around. Other than that Dodgers game, he's been doing well. So nice to see that he's dropping almost a whole entire point since last year. Not give up as many home runs helps, although he's striking out less and walking more, which is a little bit of a bad sign. But I can live with this performance. If he performs similar to this next month and all month, things are looking good. So the staff, not too bad. I don't mind seeing. I haven't had to. In years past, I was constantly trying to find a starter that didn't have an ERA of 6 or 7. It seemed like I always had at least 1 or 2 that just kept hovering around 6 or 7. This year we got everybody's in the 4s or less. This is good. Good stuff. Closer Tanner Scott. He's finally settled in. ERA of 2.86. Got 12 saves on the year. Hasn't given up a run at least in the last 5 games, possibly more. I don't know exactly. I haven't checked. A little expensive typically for my taste of this team, but he's playing so well that I can live with it. I'm not sure. I won't trade him this year because I'm already paying him. It's already on the books. As far as I can see that I have money. But next year he's probably going to be a trade target because his contract expires and I don't know how much money he's going to want out, unless he can sign a friendly deal. And we'll see how he ages as well. Fernando Cruz still somewhat struggling. ERA's in the 5. I guess that might have improved. Is that improvement or no? He's been kind of struggling. ERA's been in the 5s all season. So a major drop off from his previous years, where he was back-to-back seasons with sub-3, and then this year spikes up to 5. But he's not aging well, as you can see here. He's probably a trade target come deadline, as he is a veteran. Probably end up trading him and calling up somebody from the minors, which I did. Braden Quinn. Did I not mention Braden Quinn? I must have not mentioned Braden Quinn. Did I not mention Braden Quinn in my transactions? Well, Braden Quinn did have his contract selected. Now, he's nothing outstanding, and he wasn't having a great year. His stuff can still improve. He's up to he can have plus stuff, average movement, and below average control. He's got a plus fastball, nearly a plus slider, nearly a plus curveball, and an average changeup. So he's got a good pitch mix. Yes, he's struggling at AAA, but he did win AAA Pitcher of the Month, which was odd. I don't know what he did down there. Really high ERA, but the previous stops have all been good. So maybe this is just an anomaly, and he's never started. He's always a reliever. But he's had really good numbers all the way up to this point. We'll see what happens. He's one of my first-class guys. He was a 16th round pick back in 2024. So I say if he can have a decent year for me this year, that's a pretty darn good pick. To get somebody that can contribute at the major league level in the 16th round, I say is pretty impressive by me. Because once you get to those rounds down there, you're hoping they can get up to AAA, much less get it called up to the majors. Let's check out his history. So yeah, drafted him in the 16th round, 469th overall. He's part of that 2024 Arizona Complex Championship team. Texas League Pitcher of the Month and the PCL Pitcher of the Month. So he's won Pitcher of the Month twice in his minor league stops. And he's, 23? So he's a young kid. He's got good stuff. We'll see what he does. He can't be any worse than Joe Boyle. Can't be any worse than Joe Boyle had an ERA that was 16. In the 16. If you're wondering what that means, some people might not understand exactly what ERA is. I mean, they know it's an earned run average, but it's literally how many you would give up if you played an entire game. So this dude was on pace to give up 16 runs a game. If he just kept him in, if he had the stamina to do so, he would lose 16 to whatever every game he plays. Because that's what he was averaging. So maybe sometimes it'll be 12, but that means other times it could be 20. Just a bad pitcher. Francisco Perez is continuing his dominant season. Sub-3. James Karnichak. Did I not mention him either? Why am I not mentioning any of these transactions? I might have stopped after I did Christian Robertson. Oh, that's right. I did. Well, I might have missed it. We had 3 trades this month. So Oakland and Washington have come to a trade agreement. Oakland sends 27-year-old right-handed pitcher Luis Medina, who, by the way, I haven't used in 11 days. And he had a decent ERA, but I haven't used him as a pitcher for 11 days. I figured I could trade him, and I did. And he was never going to be anything great. He was a mop-up guy, long reliever. So, and 26 minor league center fielder Denzel Clark. So another center fielder I send out in exchange for 30-year-old right-handed pitcher James Karnichak. I like Karnichak. I know he's older, on the older end, but he's got plus stuff, above average movement, the below average control, but he's got 2 pitches. He's going to stick to his 2 pitches that bread and butter. The fastball, which is nearly elite grade, and his above average curveball. He's having a pretty decent year this year. ERA is in the 3s. Last year for Cleveland, too small of a sample size to really tell. But this year he's doing okay. The 3.41 ERA tells me he's okay, which is better than what Lewis is doing. And the fact that I haven't used Lewis in nearly 2 weeks, which is almost half the month. I mean, I didn't use him for 11, so a third of the month I didn't even bother using him. So no need to keep somebody rostered like that if I'm not going to use him. At least grab someone that I can use. Now, Tanner Scott might be out for a little while. Yeah, out for 5 days. It's a little mild injury. Only put him in if I absolutely have to. But I'll give him some rest. So that's the pit. Oh, I guess David Leal came back, and he's doing really well. Although the ERA is probably unsustainable for a guy like him at 1. And then Kyle Muller just kind of moseying along with that okay-ish 4.37. For a reliever, I wish it was lower. I think relievers need to have ERAs that are at least in the 3s. I think ERAs in the 4s as a reliever kind of signifies that you are losing leads. Or, yeah, I mean, you're losing leads. You're losing leads or you're being put in garbage time. It doesn't really matter anyway. I say garbage time, but garbage innings, I guess. There's no time. Let's take a look at the lineup. A little different lineup here. Jacob Wilson's still my best player on the year with an OPS of 864. He's on pace for 14 home runs and 94 stolen bases, but the fact that he's still hitting over 300 as a straight-up rookie, he just blew up. I don't know what happened. He just straight up blew up because he was in AAA, doing well, and then just over the offseason, he was like, put me in, coach, and that's what I'm doing. Put him in, and he hasn't disappointed. He's been one of my best players this entire year. One of the reasons why we're finally not struggling at that well below 500 range. Carson Kelly, even though he's not starting, he's got decent numbers. He's just if he had more power, he would have seen him probably start as the catcher, and I would have shaded DH. But his lack of power is going to keep him from ever being a DH. So he's here. His solid numbers for someone that I signed out of free agency for a cheap contract. JJ Blade A is having one of his better years of his entire career. Still on pace for 27 home runs and 43 stolen bases, so being part of that 20-40 club is pretty impressive. And he's batting. I think the fact that his avoid K has finally hit 50 is really helping him because his batting average is sitting at 264, which is significantly higher over his past 2 seasons. And that's made him just a much better overall player. It's made him more valuable, which is helping us. Being more valuable is that. It's funny how that just getting to average strikeout rate has made him a much better hitter. Who else do we have here? Armando Alvarez, surprisingly, but he's I think is solely in versus lefties. Yeah, so he's the first baseman versus lefties because this is what he's doing versus lefties pretty much. Very solid versus lefties. 268 to 804 OPS. Won't play too many games, but he's solid numbers for someone rated 40 overall. Nothing special about him. I don't know why I ended up calling him up back in the day. I did, though. Tyler Soderstrom, finally, I think he found his rhythm. He was out of rhythm for a while, but as you can see here, I think it's time for team lead. No, he's not. JJ Blade A leads. But look, I got 3 guys in double digits. Well, 1 newly acquired. But it's nice to see guys with home runs. Tyler Soderstrom here with a 772 OPS, not bad. And look at his batting average. I said he would probably hit 250 with 40 homers. Although this year is, due to his slow start, he's on pace for 25 home runs. But the average is there at 260. So a little higher average than I expected, but lower home runs than I expected. Although I still his power is not quite at 65 yet. He needs to get that 65 power. I don't know, which he may not hit. He may flatline here. This is it. This is the best you're going to get. You're going to get 25 to 30 home runs and a 250 average. And then Seth Brown, still having solid, even at 33 years old, is having a solid go around here. Again, another guy on pace for 25 homers, 14 stolen bases. I don't think gets on base enough to get 20 stolen bases. Even though he's got decent stealing ability, he just doesn't get on base enough. As you can see, his on base percentage is barely higher than his average. His bread and butter is hitting home runs. And then Christian Robertson here with an OPS of 730. We already went over him. He's the newly acquired player. We'll see what he does for us. Hopefully, continues hitting well. And that's pretty much it for the lineup. Everyone else is. We finally got a decent lineup. No one was worse than 600, which is good. Normally, you have guys in the 4s and the 5s. But no one is worse than 600, so we're starting to get up there where offensively, where the floor is rising. Like, our floor is now, there's a new floor, which means our wins and loss record is going to start reflecting that. So it's been nice. So that's it for this video. We are in July, so the next video is probably going to be a mid-season review of the elite prospects that we currently have, because the draft class will be fairly soon. And I might the draft class will be the next video, and then it'll be the elite prospects. Either way, it'll be either the draft class or it's probably gonna be the elite prospects review before the draft class because new players could mess that whole thing up, and I don't want to go over them twice. So that's it for this video. I will see you with the mid-season prospect review pretty soon.